like that design was on purpose. Like God designed you to want certain things because I feel like that's somehow connected to your calling.
Yeah.
Your design is part of that destiny.
Our own lens, or are we looking at through God's lens? When we do stuff for people, do we do it for them with our intentions, in a sense, to like satisfy whatever it's inside of us?
Ooh.
Or do we satisfy what's on God's heart?
Dude, I think that, in all honesty, faith is like the only thing that will keep people going, when they hit rock bottom.
Yes.
Right, because you.
Back up. Said back up. You got two weapons. I can't describe them.
Are you in danger? I'm about to.
Oh, man.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 67, Designed with Destiny. If you guys haven't already, make sure you visit us on Spotify and iTunes. Leave us a rating or review to help us grow this movement and reach more men. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the episode. We'll see you next week.
This actually was the basis of our conversation. I asked Chip, I was like, so what do you want? Right? I think that the things that we want internally for ourselves, we look at it as, oh, I'm selfish, or, I feel greedy sometimes. But I feel like there's a purpose to that. I feel like that design was on purpose. Like God designed you to want certain things because I feel like that's somehow connected to your calling.
Yeah.
Your design is part of that destiny. Like if you want certain things, if you are really into cars, if you just can't stop thinking about them or whatever, like I feel like there's something in there that.
Well, it ties into what Brian was saying earlier, is that knowing the place when, to say when to like your action, when you should take action almost, right? Because me and you were talking about it, there's three things, right? Being still, but being active, being active, but keeping your mouth shut, but it's never not do anything.
Yeah.
So either you take actions by what you're doing, but keeping your mouth shut in the sense like you don't have to use words, and people, you actually asked the question. It's like, imagine if it was a silent movie. Could people actually, by your actions, know that you're a Christian?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we do all of these things, and sometimes we have to use words. Not necessarily always, but sometimes we don't have to use any actions, but we can just speak and give clarity to people that are, maybe in a dilemma, or they have a question or something like that. But it's never, we're not doing anything.
That's so good, man.
See, you think about the story of Jonah, as well, where God had told him to go about doing something, and then, I'm not doing that. These people deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
And then he went off the complete opposite direction, and God, as opposed to leaving the still waters and whatnot, he caused turbulence. And the people on the boat started casting lots, like, who did something to anger their God? I was like, Jonah's downstairs sleeping. I was like, oh, it was me. I was like, all right, just toss me overboard, and then all this will go away. And sure enough, yeah, in the belly of the big fish for 3 days, and then spit out on the very land that he didn't even want to go to. Yeah.
But how did people respond, though?
Exactly.
To his surprise, they repented right away. And what did he do after that? He went outside the city, being pissy, because actually God had compassion on them.
Exactly.
So there's a fine line when we look at it. Again, it all ties back into, are we looking at it through our own lens, or are we looking at it through God's lens? When we do stuff for people, do we do it for them with our intentions, in a sense, to like satisfy whatever it's inside of us? Or do we satisfy what's on God's heart? Because if it's on God's heart, you know that they're just accepted as you are.
Exactly.
They are extended the same mercy and the same love as you are.
Exactly.
So when you see that, then you see that it's like, it's across the board. That's why, nobody can boast except Jesus.
Exactly.
Because he's done it all.
Let's see. And even if you don't go about doing it, the rocks will proclaim,
Yeah.
All that. So,
Wow.
man,
We're all beneficiary of the same reward,
exactly.
but we don't look at it like that. We think that just because I'm doing, and again, I get it. There's passages where it says that your reward will be great and all of that. But when we do things just for us thinking, oh, what will my reward be? I think like it's a wrong mentality to be in.
Because we go back to what we were saying, faith without works,
Yeah.
right? And then David, what is works? But then I think another level to that is whose works? Faith without my works, or faith without? Because if God comes in me and changes, then it's gonna be through Him. So my works are not gonna be of my own, but really what He's done in me through me to get to do what He needs to get accomplished. Like He needs a Bryant for this mission. He's gonna go into Bryant and boom, 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 put Bryant where he needs to be.
Exactly.
But it's that internal piece. But if our work is still, this is me, this is to glorify me,
Yeah.
to put me on a platform, to do
Yeah.
this, to do that, it's like still haven't gotten it. You know, it's still missing the point.
But that's
Exactly.
the key, right? We were saying in the beginning, it starts
Wow.
with us, but it doesn't end with us.
Man,
It's God's works in my works.
exactly.
Ooh.
Let me see. So in John 15:5, it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. You know, so God is constantly pruning those branches and whatnot. And the thing that you might think that you were called here to do might not even be the thing that you were actually called for. You know, a lot of people, they'll go through, you know, their life and then get to like that midlife crisis in air quotes, right? Where, you know, I thought that I was supposed to be, you know, this world-renowned doctor, but it turns out that I actually have a heart for ministry. And then, you know, you might have been making really good money, you know, doing, you know, your surgery or whatever. And then you turn over and you start doing ministry. And at first it looks like, man, this is not working out. I only got 3 people coming to my services. And then out of nowhere, it just booms, right? And now all these people are being led to faith as a result of you just listening to what it was that you were truly called to do.
And sometimes we don't even see, like I said, we don't even see the fruits that, you know, that the seed that we have planted. And what I mean by that, I went to a funeral of this old guy, and he never got to see actually everything that he planted becoming this beautiful fruit that people at his funeral. I mean, the church, I've never seen a church that full. I mean, you could be the best preacher in the world, and I don't think that it was that many people for this guy. They came from all over, you know, even from Romania and everything like that, and they were saying, well, you may not know to the family, but this is what your father did for us. And it's like, maybe he never got to see that. But it's not for us to see. It's for God to do it at His own time.
Exactly.
But because of our sinful nature and because of our pride sometimes, it's like, well, I want to see results now.
Yeah.
But that's not maybe for us to see.
No, that's
For us,
legit.
it's just to plant it.
They say that we're supposed to be like our great grandparents and whatnot's like dream, right? Because we're living the lifestyle that they never were able to have,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy.
It's like we're this crazy large subdivision, right? And we got all these homes for sale. And our only goal is like, hey, would you like a home? And try to get people to move in. That's really what it is. Because Christianity is not some exclusive club. Like, oh yeah, you gotta, in order to join, you got, no man, anyone can join.
Exaci
And
Can't get
anyone
in the
has a
club
home.
without your ID though.
Remember,
Yeah.
in the club, we're all fam.
No, I love that actually, because everybody, you know, in Christ, they have a home.
Exactly.
That's why Brother Polly is so dangerous. Like, nah, man, you're broken too, but use that brokenness in your works. You know,
To
I got a lot to say on that topic, but
the best people to bring to Christianity are those with the story, and that's pretty much everybody, right? The world is broken, and you
Every
know,
man's
just-
got a story. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, just because you don't think that you're relatable or whatever, you might go out there and talk to somebody about your faith and like, man, this is what I was experiencing prior to becoming a Christian. And that person might share a lot of that same stuff. And as a result of you being open to it and you saying, you know, this is what I experienced post becoming a Christian. Now they might be open to it. You know?
See, that's so. I mean, look at how this whole thing started with. I mean, look, we're on stage now, and we got these nice mics, and everything's kind of coming together. But it started with a conversation with this guy, Fredo. Like I felt coming to church, I felt like I was the only dude that was that messed up, that had these kind of crazy thoughts.
Yeah.
But still, I had that label of Christian on me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't think I can have this jersey on right now. I feel too dirty to have this
Oh,
on.
yeah. Almost
But-
two-faced.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I was like, I don't know if this is right or if this is wrong. I don't know who I can talk to because I come to church and everyone's smiling.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their life together, and I'm the only one that's here that's messed up. That's why, like, I just internalize a lot of stuff, and then the more I talk to Bryant and Fredo, and I'm like, these dudes might just be messed up like me, right? And then David came in here, and now Chip is in here, and it's
And
like,
David's normal, by the way.
David's like, no. I am the brother holy. David was the brother holy. and then like you realize that every man has a brokenness in them.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just really good at hiding it. Men
Exactly.
especially. I'm sure women too. Not taking away anything from them, but men especially, because we can speak from that experience. We are so good at putting on the mask. We're so good at hiding behind it all that when another man who's been there and has had the experience of exposing himself without the mask, you could see everyone who still has it on. And for me, that's a huge turnoff. Because I'm like, I'm trying to be vulnerable with you and have a real conversation and show you my trueness, and yet you still have the mask on. Now, in the beginning, I'll give you grace because I understand I was there too. We were all there. But the more you leave that mask on, the further for me it pushes me away. Like I'm trying to take a step back, but God is like, no, keep going, keep talking to it. I'm like, come on, but he still got his mask on.
Why?
He doesn't even want to talk to me without his mask on.
Exactly.
Like, you know, and I feel like that
Because
is,
the-
yeah.
No, I was gonna say that mess becomes uglier and uglier because the more you stare at it, you see everything about it,
Yeah.
and it's like because you've been down that dark road, you know that mask. It's familiar to you. It's like all you want is for them to like just take the mask off. I love you for who you are, for truly who you are, not for the mask that you're wearing.
See,
That is works.
man. So I hate to make this statement, but I love it at the same time, right? When people say that the church is broken, it is and it's not, for very specific reasons. Like, the church is still doing what the church was meant to do, you know, coming out and, you know, expressing the word of God, so on. But where we're broken is we're not willing to go about accepting people in the state that they're living in, right? Everybody feels as though they have to put on this perfect face to be able to come to church, even though that wasn't the intent of the church. The church is supposed to be a hospital for those that are broken.
Yes.
You know, and to be able to be put back together in the confines of a building that has, you know, the same beliefs or even, you know, external beliefs to what it is that you might be experiencing, you know. So when we go out there and we put on this happy face all the time, it kind of pushes people away,
Yes.
you know, because now they think that I can't become a Christian up until, you know, my life is perfect. And that's not it. That was never a thing. You know, all the disciples, they were very imperfect people. You know, even, you know, Judas, he was walking with Jesus the entire time. And he was stealing money from Jesus the entire time, you know.
Yeah.
But everybody has their purposes.
But imagine if people would show up to church without their mask. We would recognize the person walking in through those doors. If their mask would be off and becoming as exactly as they are. And if they would feel as a safe space where they can take their mask off, would we recognize that person? Would we want anything to do with that person?
I think we have to factor in for both questions,
Yeah.
right? It also depends on the health of the church.
Oh, that's so true.
Because one of the signs of an unhealthy church would be people feeling like they have to get their stuff together, right? If you feel that way, I don't think the church has done its job.
So are you saying the church is in the building or the church is in like the
Staff,
institution of like the people?
Not the institution as a whole, because every churches we have here will differ greatly from like churches in Texas or California. But I think it's more so for the community, right? If
Okay.
they portray
That makes sense.
I think the brother holy comes from I feel the need to portray something based
Yeah.
on what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
So if that's happening, it's not to say the person at the pulpit there's something wrong, but it's really what the people are understanding.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do you change that community? And it might be being that vulnerable guy, right? Because if you didn't talk to Alfredo and Brian, you never would have figured it out, and then you would have felt better about it. And now look, you're showing that to other people in the community.
Yeah. Dude, I think that in all honesty, faith is like the only thing that will keep people going, you know, when they hit rock bottom.
yes.
Right, because if you hit rock bottom, you know what it feels like. It feels like you are alone in, you know, every situation that you might be trying to pull yourself through. But when you have faith, you're not necessarily pulling yourself through. You're kind of pulling on God to be like, hey, get me out of this situation. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And for the mask question, the same thing, right? Once you have that healthy community, you feel like you can come with your mask off.
You know, man, at times, I think that we encounter people that we think are wearing a mask, and it might not necessarily be one. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're talking to somebody that is, like, genuinely just a nice person, and, you know, that they're giving off that air of, like, nothing is wrong in my life. Like, maybe they've already went through those seasons where everything was bad, and now they're at that point of, like, acceptance. This is how life is going to be. I just need to work with, you know, whatever cards I'm dealt. And now they're pushing on, and you might be seeing them in that season, but you didn't know what they looked like previously.
That's so good.
You know,
That's
And-
so good.
It reminds me, actually. Last week I was serving, and this guy, we just started with hay, and then I noticed, you know, he had on a Glock hat, so we got to talking, and, you know, he just came up to me randomly yesterday, and he was like, here you go. And I'm like, huh? He's like,
he
oh.
gave you a Glock.
I was like, who is this man?
What is his name?
Invite him on the next show.
Oh, one day I wasn't around.
Handing out Glocks.
No, but we just started talking. He's like, hey, you know, I've used these to bring up the gospel with like just randomly. It was this like shotgun lighter. When you pull the trigger, a flame comes
man.
out.
Man.
It was like the coolest thing ever.
Man.
You know, but it just showed me that like you're right. Not everyone is in that tough season, and quite honestly, he was just a genuinely nice guy. You know.
But I think you recognize that, though. You know what I mean?
At times.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, like,
At
you can
times.
tell if a dude is BSing his niceness to you.
Exactly.
And you're just like, no.
Yeah,
You know what
this
I
dude's
mean?
acting like he has everything
He just-
together. but
right.
I know something's wrong.
But then
with him.
you can
Yeah.
come across some people who they've been through those battles, they've got the scars, and they carry themselves with this genuine, like, no, he is just put together.
Exactly.
And he's been through it.
'Cause the
And
level-
it's just a different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The level of spiritual maturity.
And that's what it was, because there was no over religious aspect to it. Like, oh, I use these and I give them to people who don't know about Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
when you get to that point, if you're like, I'd be like,
Yeah, exactly.
But if you just had just an opportunity to spread the gospel, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So everything I see, because now you guys got me thinking, is that a brother holy? Is that a brother holy? Is that a brother holy?
Yeah, but you'll see it.
And I genuinely do see a lot of broken people. Like you can kind of like tell now.
Yeah.
But then when you see that genuine person, you're kind of like, I'd like to have a relationship with that person. Right? And then maybe we can have a relationship with some of these broken people.
I remember when I was a cop, there was a adult store in our downtown area
You frequented him.
that I patrolled to make sure there was nothing, no illegal activities were taken.
From the
right
outside,
up
you
front.
mean, right? From the outside, right?
Only on the outside.
And let me make sure there's no underage kids in me.
No,
What's that bead curtain? What you got selling back there?
I'm gonna go back there. Nobody follow me. No cameras there, right?
Oh man.
I was never here. My sergeant asked.
Dispatch taking my break. I mean,
These guys.
third bus, man.
No, but seriously, right? Like, so we would be in this downtown area, and I remember we got called to, I forgot what it was. I was gonna say battery, but you know.
Oh man.
Aggravated battery.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. You see, this is no mask. No mask. This is what happens. You tell me to take off my mask. It comes with a filter.
Oh man.
It comes with no filter.
The filter comes off with my mask. So we're in this store. I forgot what it was, but we're in this store, and it's probably my first time in it, and I knew it had existed, but we never had to actually go inside of it. So like my first time, I'm like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Like I never been in one of these. And in the back of the, you better shut your mouth. You better shut your mouth before I start rebuking people. So then we
Tag yourself. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Man, I don't know why. Like as he was walking in, like I got this mental picture. Like one of the toys was open and some guy just attacked me.
Battery assault.
Send back up. Send back up. You got two weapons. I can't describe them.
Are you in danger? I'm about to.
Oh man.
Slips on the floor.
All this baby oil. Oh man.
Diddy party. I went to Diddy party.
They had no oil.
There were no oils there.
Oh,
it was all
man.
your tears. No, so anyway,
Man.
before these immature motherfuckers.
Get so off track.
Oh man.
We needed that though. That was good. That was good. So we're in there. I'm with my partners, and in the back of the store, they had all their like DVDs and stuff, but they were covered up. And I don't know how long we were in there for. It felt like maybe 15, 20 minutes. But in that 15, 20-minute window, while we were getting the information for whatever crime that happened, there was at least 10 dudes that walked in. And the dudes, they would walk in, they would buy whatever they're gonna buy, and then they would leave. We were positioned right by the cash register, so I'm just kind of soaking this whole moment in. I'm like, not really sure how to feel. But the one thing I do remember now that we're talking about it is those guys that would buy whatever they had to buy, and then they would leave. I would watch them, and I would look them in the eye, and then immediately when I locked eyes with them, they would look down.
That moment of shame.
Shame.
There, I'm telling you.
It was like they knew like how often, like, I mean, this is probably not their first time buying these things or watching porn or buying whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they knew when I looked them in the eye, like there was this shame. Every single one of them that went to the cash register, and at the time, it's not like I was judging them. I was genuinely just curious. I'm like just watching, and then like they would look at me and look down, look at me and look down, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, just so it goes back to we're talking about Brother Holy, right? When you see people like that, you can see brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
When you see men at church and you look them in the eye and say hi, and they can't look you directly in the eye, automatically in my mind it's like something's off. Maybe he doesn't trust. It could be like he doesn't trust me, or he's not uncomfortable, or maybe he's not a personable person. But when you can see like distress, you see the signs. You see the signs.
Or my mind just went to a different place when you were describing being in that place of, you know, where men felt the shame when you locked eyes with them. It's like we're called to go to some of these places where.
Well, that's why I was there.
No, I'm saying like, you know.
Someone called me.
I was literally called to go.
People that are stuck in that, you know, hole, it might be, you know, I don't know, pornography, this, that. Are we willing to go that route? Are we willing to actually, you know, you don't have to step in necessarily into the hole, but are we even able to go stand above that hole and reach out a hand.
Are you close enough to even reach out a hand?
Or do you even want to be close enough? Do you even want to
Or
get
you're like, oh, that's
close
dirty.
enough?
Exactly.
It's like,
I
oh, that's
saw
not
what you
for me.
picked up.
But it's like, you know, you might be the only version of Christ that they see, the only interaction with Christ that they may have in their whole life.
It's, so, it's dangerous, I feel like.
It is,
to get
of
close
course
to
it
that.
is.
Because, okay, think about it. What does
Oh.
getting close to that hole mean for you?
You either pull them out or they're pulling you in.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you have, I feel like, a community of brothers, you know, strength in numbers. You can't, I'm not saying that some of these things you got to do alone. If you yourself are just, you know, you don't have no backup in a sense. I mean, we were talking about, you know, the active shooter, you know, like clearing houses or whatever, or, you know, room by room by room. But then, you know, Angelo made a good point that once you clear a room and everybody leaves, even though that room was green, somebody can walk in again and that room is red, meaning it's still danger. So you got to leave somebody behind. But how can you do that when you're by yourself? That's why I feel like community and church is so important, because then you have somebody that you can leave in behind, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch out for that. And it's like, I feel like that's how it is with us, because every single one of us has a specific task that you are in my life for a reason. Angelo is for a different reason. David is for a different reason. But it all makes this complete body of Christ that we can do this on our own. We're fighting against principalities, darkness, all of that. We're not fighting a war just, you know, one-on-one. No, the devil's not fair. He's going to bring everything towards you. That's why you also need an army to fight that. That's why you can't get too close to the hole, because you might fall in it.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, you did bring up a very good point.
Because I was thinking of, when you missed it with Samuel Johnson, but he said, by helping someone out of the hole, you almost rob them of that experience. So sometimes it's just better to say, hey, you're in a really crappy place, you know, whether the hole is pornography or whatever, but you can do that. You can overcome that. And provide that encouragement.